Thanks for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. So we have our 1 hour together again. Today is a Thursday. This should have been on Tuesday, but for some things that happened in house, couldn't hold on Tuesday. And then yesterday I came online to chat with us and let us know that we'll be having this class today. So without wasting too much time, we'll just go on to the nitty-gritty of the day. Without the mat. So before we start, I want to be as brief as possible with my chit chat. You know, that was why I came on yesterday, so we can like do away with all of that. So if you want to be up to date with all that chit chat, check the video of yesterday. I posted it, and I said I wasn't going to post it, but I said let me post so that those of us that came late to class yesterday will get to watch the beginning. Then eventually I got some people requesting that I should just leave it so that at least any other person that comes on will know what today will be all about. So that's why I left it. Okay, so for that reason, if you know you missed yesterday, once we're done today, just go right ahead and check it out. So remember this cutter, these cutters that we used to cut this out, and then we got to this point where I arranged this, spacing them out nicely. Now I also said in the video of yesterday that you shouldn't space them too wide if you know you're going to end up doing this kind of string work. Okay, don't space them out too wide, otherwise your strings will drop too deep, and you don't want that. It will drop so deep that you will not like what you have. And at the end of the day also, you might see that your springs are breaking because the weight, you know, the what do we call it, the law of gravity comes into play, and before you know it, everything just keeps dropping. Okay, so don't make it too wide, and that's the trick. So I also said yesterday that I had to do this first one because when we're finishing, we have to turn it over. So you do the first piping a little beyond halfway. Okay, so if I lift this up now, you see a little beyond halfway. That's what you pipe from the top. So don't pipe halfway and then turn it halfway. Just pipe a little beyond halfway at the top. Okay, because you want your flow at the top to just flow nicely. Okay, you want it to flow nicely, not like the middle is now showing some funny arrangements. Okay, so that when people look at it from like this, they know it flows nicely. Although you're still going to turn it over to finish the base, they'll see the base is also finished. Okay, so that's the trick. Today now I want to show you that piping these strings is easy peasy. There is no serious work about it. It is not rocket science. It is very easy and simple. Okay, so what I'll do now is just turn it over. You can see how it is. Can you see that? Just see how that is. And in previous video, I think 2 videos before this one, I also showed you how you can infuse light into it, okay, before you start your piping. So if you missed any of the classes before today, go right back and check the videos. If you cannot find them on my handle, okay, on Instagram, go on YouTube. You find them there. You see the lessons, the series 1, series 2, series 3, like that. So we're going to continue like that until I finish. Can I ever finish teaching these patterns? Because they are just so awesome. They are so awesome that there is a lot to learn about them. Just like in the cake industry, that we still keep seeing new inventions every day. It's the same thing with these patterns. All you need to do is just to think outside of the box, and you'll just be amazed at the nice things that you can create with them. So, having said that, let's go on and do our piping. Now, once you do this first piping, before you turn it over, you have to wait for it to set. So I advise to allow it to set overnight. Okay? Even if your royal icing sets fast and all that, still leave it overnight. So at least, let's say 24 hours, a full day. So that you avoid having accidents. Because these strings can be quite fragile. And for your royal icing, remember in one of the videos I also told you that you make it to a light consistency. I think the video before the last one, make it to a very light consistency, because eventually you are going to add a pinch of CMC to firm it up. So check those videos out. If you have not been attending our classes, you have been missing. Yes, let me just say it. Something new every day. Yes, bestseller cakes. Something new every day. Something new every day. So watch. Just go on and watch the videos. So now let's go on and do this. I've not tried this royal icing. It's a new preparation, but let me just see. So watch this, and you see how easy it is. And you work on your turntable. Okay. So here goes. Can you see how easy that is? All you do is turn your turntable. Okay, so when I have this breaks, I know it's either I'm moving too fast or my royal icing has air bubble. But in this case, I think I was moving faster than my turning. Once you finish, end it. Okay? Enchantin Cakes, good afternoon. How are you doing? Good to have you here. So once you finish the first line, end it. It's not a continuous movement. And then you give it a nice spacing. Don't let your spacing be too wide. When it's too wide, the beauty will not show. Make it as compact as possible. Especially when you are infusing light. You just see your light blazing from inside. Imagine this being your separator for like 4-tier cakes. You have this in different sizes depending on how big each of your tier is. Okay, and then you have your light coming from inside. Just imagine it. I'm just waiting to see someone do that. So I'm giving a little spacing, and then I go on turning my turntable. Turn. I think this tip that I'm using now is different from the one I used for the base. It's a bit bigger. And then I end it nicely. Okay? So I then go on to the next line. You see how easy it is? See, if you have the cutters already, please just try this thing out and just watch out for the reaction of your customer, because you're basically giving them something different. You're basically giving them something different. Okay, so just have a look at this. Let me try and lift it up so you see it. I don't know if you can see that, the one I just piped. Can you see? Can you just see that? This is beautiful. You can also do them in different colors. For those of us who love to play with colors, you do one line in one color, do the next one in another color, you know, a splash of color, like rainbow colors. When I work with these cutters, I'm just in my elements. You see? And just one more line and I'll close this space up. And that is it. See, it is almost closed up. So I'll just put one extra line. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll just put one extra line and then I close up. And be careful as you hold it. Be very careful so you don't keep breaking the springs. I just broke one now. But when this other side is dry, I'll turn it over and just, you know, fix the broken one back. So just this one line and I'm done. So without my having to chit chat with you, this piping takes like how long? It takes like how long? It doesn't take time to do. It takes no time at all. Because you're not lifting your tip from one point to the next, but all you're doing is just riding. You just keep going round and that is it, and you're done. And then when people now see, they go like, wow, how long did it take you to pipe this? This is awesome. How long did it take you to do this? This is too much. If somebody will say, this is crazy, you know? So that is it. You see, it didn't take me like 5 minutes to do this. All I did was, let me just do the inner one so that you see. See what I did. All you do is just hold your tip on this one, and then you just keep turning your turntable like so. Just be turning your turntable, and you exert the same pressure to commensurate with your movement, and that's it. You just keep going around like that. So it's not like the kind of piping that you go this point to this point, this point to this point, this point to this point, and you just keep going. No, this one you just keep moving, just keep turning and moving, and you know, and like that. So what you need to do is make sure that your hand is steady and you maintain your line. The beauty is also in the fact that your lines are straight. Okay, don't start on this point, and by the time you're finishing and you're going to the next point, one line is here and another line is here. Okay, just make sure that your movement is steady. You don't have to run, you don't have to rush. Take it one step at a time, and it's not from this point to this point. You just go around, just keep turning and you keep going, keep turning, and you finish one line, come to the next one. So it's not a continuous movement. Not like you finish one line and then you continue the next, you continue. No. You finish one line, end it, take the next line, end it, take the next line, end it, and you make sure that you are giving it equal spacing. The spacing is also very important. That is where your finishing comes out. So as it is now, let's now assume that we have light inside it. You can see how it is. If we now assume that there is light in there, you see how that, if it's now, let's even say it is tighter than this, it's not as wide, and then my spacing of the strings is not this, is tighter than this also, as in closer, and then you have light inside. It's going to be like a mesh. Do you get? It will be like a mesh that to be so beautiful. So I'm waiting. So I want somebody, if you have the cutter already, this scroll cutter, the small and the large, if you have it already, try it out and let me see. Don't try what I've done. No, that's not the way I do my classes. Oh. I've already given you hints. Okay? I've given you hints. Don't do what I've done. You're going to do this piping, but you're going to do it better than what I've done. Huh? You're going to make your own tighter than this one, and you're also probably going to work with some color. And if you still want to insist on doing white, let's see some light. And tag me in your post. I want to see your work. I don't want to just be teaching for the fun of it. I want to see results. Okay? So, are we good to go? Do we all understand it? Let's see show of hand. Do we understand it? If you have any question about this now, ask me. That's good. Fine. So now, you know also that if I use this scroll for something like this, I'm not limited to this alone. There are other things that you can do with the scroll. So I want us to think outside the box. Good to go, AY. Thank you. Thank you. So I want us to think outside of the box and, you know, think of other things that you can do with this scroll. Work with it and post it. Okay? So just think about it. Do something. Use cake. Use cake. Use separator. Use anything. Okay? It can work with anything. Alright? So that's that. But in this case, this is a separator. This is a wooden separator. So now I'm going to put this aside and then we'll go on to the next thing we want to do for today. I talked about this cutter yesterday. I said it is one of those cutters that people underestimate in the pack because they probably feel it's not beautiful, it's not elegant, but it is an awesome cutter, and that's the more reason why I'm going to use it in this class. Let me say something again about our classes. Okay, my people say, for those who have been missing classes, this is for you. Okay, if you have been missing classes, I implore you, please don't. From now on, don't miss classes, because you see all these chit chats that we have in between what we're doing for the day, they are also important. Okay, you get some nice information from them. All right. So from now on, even when I said the replay will be on YouTube, that's our YouTube channel. Yes, it will be there. But I'm going to be editing from now on. I'm going to be editing. So when I edit, we just shoot into whatever it is that we have done. So some things may be cut off. Okay. So if you feel you don't want to miss out on all these small talks and all that, then I implore you, do not miss classes. Okay. But if you're okay with just watching on YouTube and all that, all well and good. You can just watch at any point in time. So it is nice. It's always nice not to miss class. And then you can ask real-time questions and get clarification immediately. Okay? So now this cutter, like I explained yesterday, I made the cutouts yesterday late afternoon. Yes? Yes. And then by the time I was coming, I came online yesterday. I showed you guys how I turned them over. Okay, those are some of the reasons why people said I shouldn't remove yesterday's video from my wall. Okay, and I left it there. So I turned them over in your presence yesterday. So these are basically like 24 hours work, and I'm ready to use them. They are dry enough to be used, but not as solidly dry as the other ones that we did the last time. They are not as solidly dry as these ones. Okay? So when I want to start using them, I know I can use them, but I'll be more careful using them than if I was using a well-dried one. So like I said, give your work like 3-4 days to dry perfectly. And once they are dry, keep them in a Ziploc bag, and for whatever time you want to use them. Okay, so I'll be fixing these ones on this cake now. So if you're doing something like this, now the usage is not limited to this, but I just want to use it in a different way. Alright? So you can use it the same way I fixed the other one. Remember that time that I fixed one. So if you now intend to excuse me please. If you now intend to do this, okay? We're having light situation in Ikeja, so everyone is on generator. And the noise is making me shout. I think I feel better. I feel better now. Okay, fine. So if you want to now, if this is what you want to do, then you need to do this, because if I was attaching it onto any cake like this now, and this is the base, all I do is just fix it and I'm good to go. But if this is my topmost layer, as this is my topmost tier, then there is nothing for you to hold on to. Do you get? So what you do is you find your pipe dowel. So you find your pipe dowel, okay? Dowel your cake with a pipe, okay, and cover it up like this. And what you have will be almost like the height of your cutout, because you don't want this to be shooting out. Huh? And also, in case at the end of the day you want to arrange some flowers from this hole, and it has to sit in through your pipe. You just tape your flowers, tape them, and then insert into your pipe, and everything just goes in, and then you have your flowers coming out. So what the arrangement you're going to have now, you can later imagine having your flower at the center, just shooting out like that. Okay, so because this is green on green, I have my real icing, same preparation as the other one, and then I am now going to take my cutout, and as usual, remember, apply your real icing right on this edge nicely, and then right on the base. That's it. And then you have to like let it be at your eye level so that you can get it perfectly straight onto your cake. You have to really, the first one, you have to really be careful. I think I need more real icing on this. You need to be really careful so that it is well fixed, because that is what will determine how the others will flow. You understand? So it has to be directly opposite to you, like so. Okay, I'm being careful because what I have at this center is also not dry. I did not fix it in good time. So I am going to be extremely careful arranging this. So now that I've done that, let's see, that is what I have. Can you see how straight that is? Can you see the straightness? That's what you want. So you have to get that right at first, and then others will now follow suit. Now you also have to determine what you want to do. Do you want to do some string work on it? If the answer is yes, you need to be very careful about the spacing. Like what we discussed earlier, don't let it be too widely spaced. If you're going to still do string work on it, don't let it be too widely spaced. Otherwise, it will give you issues. Then you must make sure that you have enough cutouts for your usage. You don't want to make it so tight, and at the end of the day, you discover that what you have is not enough to go around. So you want to avoid that situation. So I'm going to show you something else now that you need to be very knowledgeable about. Now, if you look at what I've done here now, you will see that the top is narrower than the base. Am I teaching you rightly? See, everything I say is important to you. A time will come, we'll do an exam in this classroom. Okay, fine. And we have an exam for today. From this point on, the person that's going to win the second separator. You remember the separators from yesterday? The person who won the separator yesterday, she's not even in class today. Should we take it from her? Should we take it from the response is usually like later, it's not immediate. Should we take it from her? She's not in class yesterday. Isn't that Winnie Bakes and Cream or something like that? So the person that's going to win the second separator today, there is exam. So you want to stay till the end. So let's hear, do we take Winnie baked cream? Do we take it from her? She has some lovers in the house, so you're saying no. Tell her, nobody misses my class, especially when I have my eyes on you. I have my eyes on her already, as somebody with a good report. So, so we're doing the exam. Okay, before I was going to say something about the spacing. I'm going to say it after this one now, so that we understand it better. Sure, I told you. I'll say it after this one now. I'm being extra careful with these because you remember I said they're not totally dry like that, but we have to use it in class all the time. Okay, good. This is what I want to show you. Now, if you look at it very well, you see that the upper part is narrower than the base. You get it? The upper part is narrower than the base. That is because the base is wider than this top. So if I don't follow it nicely around this base and make it compact around the top, it will not go round nicely. Okay? It will not flow. So don't align it straight. It will not work. It won't work. So you need to keep it close on the inside and then spread it out on the outside like this. That's the only way that it can be well fixed. Okay? And then another thing you can do is, once you get the straight one on this side, directly opposite it, place another one. Like so. Directly opposite the first one you did, place another one. Okay? Right on this side, halfway in between the two, place one. Like this. Place one. Then directly opposite that, place another one. So that you have them partitioned into 4 portions. Then you can now fix your cutout into each quarter. Do you understand? That way you have a better arrangement than you starting from one point and going round to come and end at the same point. You will miss it. No, I'm not cursing. But there is just no way. Even if you get it, it will be quite a task. So your best bet is make a cross. Put one here, put another one across it. Put one on this side, put another one across it. So once you get your cross, you're okay. Even after getting your cross, for each quarter, you can still divide into 2 at the center of each of the quarters. Then whatever space you now have left, you now start to fix. So I'm going to do that now. Let me just explain it. Let me show you. Before we now go on and then do something else. And you know, for you to do your spring work, this has to dry. So I may not be able to do spring work with you today on this. I already showed you what to do for spring work. But by the time we meet again, you'll be seeing this cake in its elegant beauty. You'll be seeing it in its elegant beauty. So I have that first one there. I'm now going to put this one across it, just facing me. Directly across it like that. Can you see that? Directly across it. Then I said, you now place another one so that you have a cross. This is what I'm doing, so you see what I'm doing. So I place one here. directly across me also, I just want to see the straight line before dropping it, like so. You see? And then I place another one across of that. Okay, I just look across me and I just drop it, making sure it is aligned. Good. So this is what I was saying. So you have your 4 cardinal points. You have this, 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 and this. Okay. Now taking one of the empty ones. Now, and I said this quarter that you have here, you can place one at the center. Place another one. Let's just do it. This is all for you to have a proper alignment. Okay? So now I'm going to place one in between. I need more realizing. Okay, good. So now I placed, you see, this is my quarter, this and this form my quarter. So this is 1/8 of the quarter, 1/8. So now what do I have in between here? You can decide to place like 3 quarters or 4 inside here. If you decide to place 4, that means you're going to be placing 4 inside each 1/8. But if you decide to place 3, that means you have 3 pieces inside each 1/8. That means each quarter will have 7 pieces in between. 3 here, and the one at the center, making 7. So that is how you count your spacing. That's how you calculate it. So if you do it like that, at the end of the day, you have something beautiful. You have something beautiful coming out. Okay? So later I'm going to finish with this. So I don't have to like spend time in the class just fixing quarters. Then by the time I'm done with the entire cake, then you'll see what we have. Okay, so I have plenty of the cutouts here that I want to use. You can see I have more than enough. I have more than enough that I want to use. There's still one. I have more than enough that I want to use. So that's how you work. Make extra. Make sure you have enough. It's always better when you have more than enough than when you don't have enough. Okay, so you don't have to unnecessarily stress yourself. Good. Now, I always like to give those in my class privilege. Okay? There's something I'm working on. Like I said yesterday, we're already prepping. We've already started prepping the class, the online class. That's the wedding cake concept and design master class. Like I said, it's coming up soon. I've already designed the flyer. So I'll be posting it today with the details for the class, both the online and the on-site class. Remember, the on-site class is for a limited number of people per time. We're not taking more than 3. Initially, I said 1 person. That's going to be a private class, but we have been able to put some things on ground, some precautions and measures on ground, so we can accommodate 3 people per time with every precaution against this COVID issue all addressed. Okay? So details for that class will be coming up. I'll post the poster later on. But like I said, we'll be dealing with concepts. We'll be dealing with different concepts of design. Okay, different designs and all that. That's what we'll be working on. So at the end of the day, when the class is over, when we're finished teaching all the different designs and all, each participant will design, or rather sketch their design, conceptualize their design and sketch it. So you're not going to be doing the same project as each person. Even though we have class projects, one of them is this one. In fact, this is going over one of them. And then we have this beauty that I'm going to show you later. Okay, we have this one that I'm still working on. Okay, so we have class projects. Thank you, Queen's Delight. We have class projects that I'm posting, that we're working with class projects after all the concepts have been taught and all that. And you're not allowed to copy the class project. Whatever it is, even if you're going to use the same concept, you have to use it in a different way. That is when I know you're thinking. That is when I know you're conceptualizing. Why would you recall the class concept and design when you're not thinking of your design? You're not like, designing from your head and putting it down and working. So you have to do that. You have to be seen doing that. Okay? So at the end of the day, each person will now do their project. You sketch it, you send it to me for approval. If there's anything to be corrected and all that, I do that for you. Or we do that together, and then you go on and work on your project. Okay, so you're not left on your own. It's not like the class you buy. You just buy a class and you're left to your own devices. No, I am right, on your neck, blowing some air and telling you, speed up. You need to work. You need to do this. Okay, okay. So that's it. I'm going to be pushing you. It's more like you're in my class. That's the way it's going to be. And you're going to have access to the class material for 6 months. The class is not going to last for 6 months. You see the details later. But you have access to the materials for 6 months. In case you want to work on any of the concepts for a client and you need to get some verification and all that. So you have access to that class content for 6 months. But the duration of the class you get to see, everybody is kept on their toes. So how many projects are we going to have in class? I'll tell you later. But believe you me, we have quite a lot we're going to cover. We have a lot we're going to cover. So you have to be ready to work. You have to be ready to work. So we're not just doing cake and all that. We're also going to be doing flowers. We're going to be working with pastelage. Okay, we're going to be working with royal icing besides our not regular fondants. We're going to be doing so many abstract works. Okay, we're going to be molding. Okay, so many things. I mean, we called it a master class, so you have to come out like a master. Do you get me? It's not a 1 week class. It is not. And it's not a class where I'm going to rush you. But we have time limit for the class because you have to work. And you have to put your heart in what you're doing. Okay, you have to earn your certificate. It's not a matter of you paying me and then all you want is just certificate at the end of the day. You have to work. Okay? You have to work. So let me just bring this closer to us so we see what we're talking about. One, I'm still working. So you see one of the privilege of being in this class. Now you get to see the work while it's in progress. Okay? You get to see the work while it's in progress. So I need to shift this a little so you can see. This is the front for this one. You've seen already. So we have this. And you can see the glow. Can you see that glow from maybe my light and the fact that I think basically my light is making it look somehow, I don't know. So this is it. This is I'm still working, like I said. So this is one of the things you're going to be creating. It has a rough look. It has a rough look, it's just like stone, but it's a different color. Okay. So later when I take the picture, we get to see it. It's like a rustic design. It's like a rustic design. Okay. So you get to do this. Okay. And remember we taught this in one of the classes. Check and stripes. Can anyone remember? We taught it in one of the classes. Okay, so that is one of the works that we're working on. There's another one that we have not really. So all these ones, besides teaching the concept, how did we do this? Okay, more like if you want to have this look of this body now, if you want to have this look, how did we get this? That is what I mean by concept. How did we arrive at this particular design? How? Not the cake itself, but this design. That's the concept. How did we arrive at this check? That's the concept. Do you understand? How did we arrive at getting this? That's the concept. So those are things that we're going to break down. And we have several that we're going to be touching. Several. So we'll touch all these concepts and all that. Then you now see the making of these cakes. These are the class projects. How did the class projects come about? When you now want to do yours, you now know how to go about it. It is after we have done all of that, gone over our flowers, made them, gone over all our pastelized works, all our abstract works, all our molding works, all our realizing works, everything, one after the other. It is after we have done all that, that is when you now, and even painting, you know, some simple painting, okay, will also be infused, and painting, simple painting. So don't come and hold me in the neck and say, painting is a class on its own, but simple painting, yes, okay. And what else was I going to say? So anyway, all of that, and then how to sketch your cake. Now, I think cake, what's this handle? Oh my God, I shouldn't even forget it. They have this app that gives you designs, sketch designs of cakes. Can someone just remind me? Is it Cake Connect? Oh my God, I shouldn't even forget this lady's handle. I shouldn't forget her handle. Somebody should remind me if you can, if you know it. They have this app where you can like sketch your cake from your phone. You know, you fix flowers and all that. Can anybody remember the name? If you can, just type it and let's see. I think something Connect. It's a shame that I'm forgetting this thing. Names, I'm just not so good with names. The same thing with faces. Names, faces. God did not give me that gift. I just try. I just try. I just try. Okay, so you have that app that gives you how to all the sketching and all that, so you don't have to like draw your own. But then nothing still stops you from learning how to draw or sketch your cake. It's nice for you to be able to do it on your own. Okay, otherwise you can get that app. Even if you want to still sketch on your own, you can get the app. Maybe you want a 4-tier cake and all that, you get it on the app, print it out, and then you start to do your other sketching on it. But sketching cake is quite easy. So I'm going to show you how you sketch your round cake, how you sketch your square cake, and all that. Okay? So we'll do all that, and then you're going to now sit down and conceptualize your design. Your designs. You're not doing just one project. Sorry, it's a lot of work, but you have to do it because you have to know this business. You're not just doing one design, you're going to work with more than one design. I'm not going to tell you how many there are going to be, but I mean, me, I'm not tired of working. So you that I'm teaching, that you're getting the knowledge, you can't be tired of accepting now. Abi? Good. So me, I'm willing to teach, please, we'll be willing to accept. So you're going to do all of that, then I'll approve it. Add where I need to add, remove where I need to remove, and all that. Then you go on and start to work on your design, and then you post it. We're going to have a group. We're going to have a group on probably Telegram or WhatsApp. So we'll have that where we'll be discussing all that. So I'm not leaving you on your own. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to see you through all of this. Together we're going to work it out. If you have challenges, we post it in the group, we discuss it and all that in the presence of everybody. Okay, so that every other person who can chip in 1 or 2 words of advice, or probably they have encountered the same problem and they found a way around it. So we're going to be doing all that. So it's going to be absolutely interactive and educating also. Do you want to miss that? Do you really want to miss that? No. you'll be doing. So it's a master class, it's not a class for beginners. I want people who are already like into this and they are like ready to work. They're ready to work. They're ready to work. So you're not going to just do the front of our cake and snap picture, leaving the back. No. When you finish your project and you're posting it to me, you are going to spin your cake. Yes. You're going to spin your cake and we're going to see it, and you're going to be given a timing. Once your project is approved, you have a timing under which you have to finish your project. So it's basically more like you're in class. It's more like you're in class. That's the way I want to run it. And that's the way it's going to be run. And that's the way you're going to take it. And that's the way you're going to know it. Yes, you have to know it. So that's it for today. Watch out for the details of the class. I'll be posting the flyer before the end of today. Once I finish what I'm doing on ground, I'll just go into my system and I'll do the posting, and then we can like start preparing. We can start making our payments. We can start to receive our worksheets where you have your items that you're going to get ready for the class, and then we move on from there. Okay, so watch out for the details, and that's it. So next week you'll see the finishing of this. So remember I told you about this pillar cutter, that is not just a cut and use. No, it's not. There are so many things you can do with this thing. So probably next week, after I show you all this and all that, we will move on to this pillar. So see you next week, and be good, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Cheers. So I decided to come back and show you guys that I finished fixing it, so that I don't just show you halfway. Okay, because you remember somebody said, more than one person said, you guys could not see what I was piping. Okay, so I don't like to teach halfway, so I don't want you to go away with half the information for today. That's why I want to do this, so you see what I do. I hope you can see it nicely now. And this is even easier than that. So I just stop here and I just keep moving. So you see what I was saying about spacing. If it's too wide, it will drop too much. Like this particular one is a bit wider than the rest. And you maintain your height. If it breaks at one point or the other, don't worry. It's just okay. Even with the masters, their string blocks break sometimes. So how much more we? But I'll just try. So you see that I'm just moving and I'm not doing one line. Can you see? So that's how it goes. I can see that at some point I think I have something wider. I'll correct that. So I take the next line. I usually like to start from the same spot. Am I starting from the front? No, I don't want my starting point to be from front. So let me turn to the back. So I'm here. Just keep going like that. Gently, slowly, gently. Don't exert too much pressure. Don't bring out too much icing. Just slowly move. Then I'm going to show you something. Maybe because I was rushing to come back online in good time to show you guys this. So that you'll be careful when you're spacing out your pieces. You want to avoid this particular portion I'm seeing. Fine. So now, I talked about spacing. You see these particular places. Can you see these few lines? You see how nicely spaced they are. These ones. Can we see? Good. Now, move away from there and see this one. See these ones. Can you see how wide it is? Can you see that it is dropping more? So you can see now that even when it looks like it's narrow, it might still be too wide for your piping, for your string work. So you want to try as much as possible to maintain this size here. This size here. Try as much as possible to maintain this. Because even though this looks like it is close, it's still wide for piping, for string work. So don't make it this wide. This size is okay. Don't make it this wide. So if you have that situation, you can still adjust it, especially when the one at the side is a bit narrow, but you know you have to repeat the piping. So I just push it close a little, push it away from that point a little. So at least the spacing balances slightly. Then I can now remove the strings and just fix that point again. Okay? But you will not be able to do this if your work is already dry. So I'm only able to do this now that I have this. So when you do this, when you fix your cutouts, make sure that your spacing is okay before you move on. So I just pipe these spaces that I removed. Like so. Easy peasy. Easy. Like that. And that's it. Okay? That's it. So I'll do one more line before I move on. Let me fix this one. So you see how it's looking already? Isn't it pretty? Isn't it just pretty? Isn't it just pretty? Okay, I don't know if you can still do one more. Let me try and see if you can do one more, just one more, one short one. Beautiful. You need to be very careful. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't rest on the cake. Did I not tell you this cutter is a beautiful cutter? And that's the thing about life. Those who don't know you, they can't appreciate your beauty until they get close to you. And then they see the beauty that you have. So this is just about that. That is the way of life. You see how beautiful this is? This is your cake topper. That's your topper. And then here, you can have flowers shooting out nicely and all that. So you can imagine this at the end of the day when I'm done with all the finishing, and it's going on top of that other cake that I showed you. For those of you who were not here earlier, we spent an hour together here earlier, just some few minutes ago. Go on my YouTube. It will not be today, or by tomorrow. Go on my YouTube channel tomorrow. Check the link in my bio. That's Enchanting Cake Art Studio. And watch the replay, edited replay of our earlier class and our class earlier. Okay, so this is for you. I'm going to add it to that one. And just see this cutter. If it was a person, it will start to suit people. How can you say I'm not beautiful when just because I have big bum bum? How can you say I'm not beautiful? And you know, it is big bum bum that is raining now. You know, people are even praying exorbitant amount just to have it. Say the beauty now, Abba, please. So next week we'll address it, okay? Thank you for coming back, for those who were here earlier and those who are here again. So get your cutters. Next week we address this awesome pillar cutters. That's why I call them pillar. This is the big bum and earlier we worked on the scrolls, the two sizes of scrolls. This is, what did I call this? Sorry. So see you next week. The art of Mobi.
And about the photography.
Kò ní nǹkan kan, yìí náà lè ti ń kọ gbogbo. Ó fara balẹ̀ náà.
Láti ẹ̀kọ́kọ́ tí ẹ̀ parí ìkan náà.
Ẹ̀gbọ́n ìyá ẹ̀ ló fẹ́ sponsor ṣe rí nǹkan.
So gbogbo òfin ilé ìyá àwọn àkàndé yìí. So àwọn smaller houses ló máa kàndé yìí. Then the notary one yẹn kọ́ máa ṣe production of almost 2,000, 3,000 per 6 hours and without failure to pay. Wọ́n máa move buying. So the also specialization the whole last one. So I get méjì. So